You folks tired of the racial animus and the race war yet? I certainly am. In the wake of Gavin Long's shooting in Baton Rouge, I think it's good to go over some statistics again. As some of these people are going to use these acts, whether it's perpetrated by a black man or a white man or a Hispanic man or whatever, as a reason to take away guns and we got to regulate guns. And Hillary Clinton, I am fully convinced that she wants to undermine the Second Amendment via Supreme Court appointments. And yeah, good luck getting my guns, Hillary. It won't happen. But I am worried about other people. But I think we need to go over these stats again. And I don't know if this Gavin Long was a fatherless child like so many blacks or not. I honestly didn't look it up to see if he had a father figure in his life or not. That was worth a dang. But a lot of them don't. So let's go over some facts, and you can arm yourself when the Black Lives Matter and the race trading, the race card playing progressives come around. You ask them, why is this happening? Gavin Long and angry, violent black people. All the links are below the video. As per usual, you can check out what I'm saying. From 1980 to 2008, blacks were 52.5% of known, that's the key, known homicide offenders, and 47.4% of the victims. Again, 1980 to 2008, blacks were 52.5% of known homicide offenders, 47.4% of the victims, yet they were only 12.6% of the population. Amazing. For you progressives out there, they were roughly 4 times their percentage of the population. They were 4 times of the amount of the offenders. So one of the most common form of homicide in the United States in that time frame was a black person killing another black person. Is that white privilege or something? 2009, there were 13,636 murder victims or homicide victims. 51.6% of known offenders were black. 48.6% of victims were black. In 2010, 12,996 murder victims. 53.1% of known offenders were black. 50.4% of victims were black. Do we see a trend here? We got a trend going. 2011, 12,664 homicide victims. 52.4% of known offenders were black. 52.4% of known offenders were black. 49.9% of victims were black. (2012) 12,765 homicide victims. 53.4% of known offenders were black. 50.6% of victims were black. 2013, 12,253 victims. 53.6% of known offenders. 53.6% of known offenders were black. 51% of victims were black. 2014, 11,961 victims. 53% of known offenders were black. 51% of victims were black. 2009 through 2014, blacks averaged 52.85%. Again, 2009 through 2014, blacks averaged 52.85% of known offenders. 50.25% of victims. 2009 through 2014, blacks or African American were only 13% of the population. So again, from 1980 to 2008, blacks were 52.5% of known homicide offenders, 47.4% of the victims, yet they were only 12.6% of the population. Get it? In 2009 to 2014, blacks averaged 52.85% of known offenders, so it went slightly up from the 1980-2008 average. 2009 through 2014, blacks averaged 52.85% of known offenders, 50.25% of victims. So that went up as well. And that time frame, they were slightly bigger percentage of the population, a whole 13%. So who's killing who? Again, 70% of blacks have been born out of wedlock for around 70% for a couple decades. We got a very small segment of the population that are killing each other in the hood, and they don't care if they use a gun. Sometimes they use a crowbar, a brick. Sometimes they just use a good old beatdown in an alley. So who's killing who? Who's perpetrating most of this crime? Well, it's not white people. Not that there aren't some white trash out there, and there's some problems in those areas, but we're so politically incorrect now that we can't manage that. And somebody gets offended and gets butthurt because you mentioned that black on black homicide is the most common form of homicide in the U.S. That makes you a racist. No, it makes me a truth teller. So quit your whining. I would recommend Juan Williams. I don't agree with him politically, but he's called out some of these people. So maybe you need to look into Juan Williams. Guess what? He's married. Great. Been married. I don't know how long he's been married, but he's still married to that woman who gave birth to his kids. And guess what? His kids aren't nutcases snorting cocaine, having a bunch of children themselves that they can't support. So that's the main problem in the black community. And it makes I get sick and tired of having to mention it, but it's good to mention it because well, it is the truth and it irritates him. So keep mentioning this. Push back to these race trading idiots. The black community has some serious issues. And even as the homicide and violent crime rate has gone way down since the late 80s and early 90s, the percentage of offenders that are black have gone slightly up and remain well over half. And the number of victims has gone up, and now from 2009 to 2014 it was more than half of them. So arm yourself with the facts. And don't give in to these race trading loonies. Have a nice day.